This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. All right, people. It's a special show today.
Let's get that fixed.
This is Grow Omaha.
They're all special.
A weekly radio show that talks about economic development, construction, business expansion, and all the things that make Omaha a great place to live or visit. Grow Omaha on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, D&M Roofing.com. That's Omaha's premier residential and commercial roofing contractor. Well, glad you've joined us. You're not going to find a show anywhere else in the metro area that talks about what we talk about. That's the growth and development of the city, business expansion, real estate and construction, interesting things. And there's a guy sitting next to me who has been sitting next to me for over 18 years on this show, someone who also cares about all those things and happens to be a legendary real estate deal maker, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jeff.
Trenton, what a busy week.
Yeah, it was a great week at NAI NP Dodge.
Yeah, it seems like every time you turn around, we're doing deals and we're getting news flashes about development opportunities and big projects in our town. It's an exciting time to be alive in Omaha.
People talk about how red hot the residential market is and how expensive homes can be. Well, commercial real estate, industrial is on fire. It's really hard to find big industrial spaces or even small industrial spaces for that matter. But we're also seeing a lot of restaurateurs looking for new restaurant spaces, which you'd be surprised with the labor shortage and all that. We're seeing, I've been showing a lot of office space lately, which is interesting.
That is encouraging.
People want to buy, investors want to buy apartment complexes. Those are hard to find. So rates are, there are some incentives for some spaces, but it's pretty much a landlord's market still.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out over the rest of this year and the following year. But yeah, I continue to be amazed by the industrial market. When you look at the statistics, they're incredibly, the vacancy is incredibly low. You're seeing industrial construction projects popping up all over the place, and a lot of them on the drawing board right now.
Yeah, Brian Hartman in our office and I represented a national tenant, 110,000 square foot lease, brand new building, Southwest, and 7 years, and it was one of the few that worked for our client, and we were lucky to get it.
Yeah, I know you guys were hustling, trying to find the right spot for that client.
Competing with other prospective tenants.
Well, that just kind of leads us into the news of the week, Trenton, and that is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. Holly Schneiderwin and the team at Eagle Mortgage do a great job of caring for clients. Doesn't matter whether you're going to go the conventional loan route or if you're going to do FHA, VA, they do all of that. And it's February. We're in the second half of February. These are some sweet words to come out of my mouth. We are in late winter right now. Late winter is the best part of winter, and that means that homes are going to start flying off the shelves if they aren't already. So go get your pre-approval letter from Eagle Mortgage. So when you go out into the home buying circus, you are armed with the right kind of weapon, a pre-approval letter from Eagle Mortgage. You can stop in person at their office, 114th and Davenport, or find them online at EagleMortgageCompany.com. Well, Trenton, you mentioned just a little bit earlier about the residential real estate market also being hot, and it is. And in fact, we have some information from NP Dodge Residential that I wanted to share with everyone to kind of just give them an idea about what that residential market is looking like these days. And so here's some information. Okay. So from the NP Dodge Residential Real Estate Company January report ending January 31st, there were 765 single-family houses listed in the Omaha area as of January 31st. Now, that's a 13% drop from a year earlier. So the market looks like it's going to continue to be tight because it was tight last year. The number of Omaha home sales closed in January was 771. That's down 8.6% from the previous year.
Probably from lack of inventory.
Precisely, because get a load of this. Now we're going to talk about sale prices. The median sale price for a newly constructed house in the Omaha metro area was $427,000. That is up 15.7%.
In 1 year.
In 1 year. And the median sale price for existing houses was $240,000, up over 14%.
Wowzer.
Yeah, those types of growth percentages you typically don't see in places like Omaha. You think more Sun Belt or something like that. So, yeah, definitely a sign of the times. These housing prices are going up. So
I'd imagine housing starts, and it can take a couple years to develop a farm into a residential community, at least 2 years. And I'd be interested to see the number of housing starts and available lots. Remember, we used to track buildable lots.
yeah, we did back in the day. We should do that again.
Was it around 2007, or we determined that there was like way more lots? It was supposed to be a 3 or 4 year supply, and it was like a 18-year supply or something like that.
Yeah, because that was right before the national housing crash, and Omaha had oversupplied at that point in time in lots like a lot of other cities. But now I tell you what, it's really interesting because if you drive certain parts of the metro, say north Elkhorn, west of Bennington, south of Bennington, that whole area up there, kind of far northwest Omaha, incredible numbers of farms that are being converted into neighborhoods and new neighborhood construction. You see a lot of it in the Gretna area. You see a lot of it in the Papillion area. It will be interesting because right now we have not been able to build our way out of our housing shortage because the building, even at the accelerated pace, can't keep up. But one wonders, will we ever build too much again?
And we have a couple national home builders that moved into our market as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they have an effect because we have very active home builders, especially Celebrity Homes is very prolific.
Absolutely. Well, for this next story, let's look downtown. Hotel Indigo has opened at 18th and Dodge Street. It's the first Hotel Indigo in Nebraska or Iowa. Now, this one is a 90-room boutique hotel in the old Logan building, the historic Logan building. Now, there eventually will be a restaurant and a speakeasy bar, but I'm told those will be about 6 months before they're opened. But the hotel part is open. Hotel Indigo is a chain of 120 boutique hotels, multiple countries around the world. Nice. I have not popped my head in the downtown one yet, but when you drive by on Dodge, it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, it'll be pretty good, too. And I'll give a little teaser. They haven't been announced yet, but there'll be 2 new restaurant concepts going into the old space known as the Trio Building at 15th and Farnham, where Jazz was. There'll be 18 apartments above it. Local developers working on that. And then the restaurateur, Alex Harrington, friend and client, is going to put 2 new concepts. Not a chain yet.
So they're just created from the ground up, new restaurant
Created from
concepts.
the ground up, and we'll see what great things he puts together. He's smashing it with Pickleman's. They've got almost 8 open. The next one will be at 168th and Harrison Street, the old Jimmy John space. We'll have a drive-through, and he's working on it now. Going
back to that Trio building at 15th and Farnham, are these going to be sit-down restaurants or quick serve, or do we know?
One will be a sit-down restaurant, healthy concept. The other one, more of a unique coffee shop.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
We'll keep her. Now, let's do 20 questions.
Yeah.
I'll ask the question.
What does it rhyme with?
Yeah, what's the first letter? No, I won't do that to you just yet. Give you a little bit of time. All right, next up on the docket, according to WWT, groundbreaking for the casino at Horseman's Park, the one that, quote, wouldn't be financially feasible without TIF financing, by the way, could be late this spring. From groundbreaking to opening, it would be 2 years until the entire facility is complete and fully open. But fear not, if you want to pull handles before then, 10 months after groundbreaking, there would be a transitional facility.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that's a double wide or maybe it's like South Dakota where they'll put slot machines in a Quonset hut or something like that.
Interesting.
We shall see. But that's coming along. And I know we've had a handful of Grow Omaha followers lately who've inquired about that. Say, hey, I thought this was going to get built. Well, apparently, according to the WWT article, because this new casino is being announced when the whole casino thing or legalized gambling in Nebraska is new, there's been all of this bureaucratic setup and administrative work that's had to go on. Rules had to be written.
How does the state coffers get their piece?
Exactly. Hey, there's a developer out of Denver by the name of Kentro Group that is interested in rehabbing the old Schooler headquarters downtown.
Thought that was interesting.
Yeah. So that building's a great building. Now Schooler moved to a newer building that they're leasing in Bank of the West Business Park. The previous headquarters is right at 20th and Dodge. But that Schooler building, beautiful on the outside. There's a great ballroom inside that a lot of people over the years will rent.
And got married there.
Yeah, weddings are there.
Brother got married there.
Oh, did he? Yeah, wedding receptions and all that. So
it has a gym in it.
That's true. It does. Yeah, it's 90,000 square foot building. It's about 100 years old. And this company, this real estate development firm out of Denver, wants to keep it office, but perhaps multi-tenant, small office spaces. $8.3 million project.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be a nice addition. So we have a new warehouse, Trenton. Here's an attempt to kind of take a little chunk out of that industrial real estate shortage. John Meyer in our office is doing the leasing for this, but it is a new warehouse on 3.2 acres at 117th and Centennial Road, completed later this year, 45,000 square feet, 36-foot ceilings.
Those are tall ceilings.
Yeah, because 32 is generally considered pretty darn good.
Yeah, for modern.
So if you go up to 36, you're pretty impressive. But then there's that Amazon warehouse that has it's 79 feet tall. But I do believe there are 3 levels in there. So don't get too excited, folks. Now, Nebraska Examiner had an interesting story by Cindy Gonzalez recently. Says the state of Nebraska might pitch in $20 million toward a proposed $80 million innovation and research hub that is designed to strengthen national defense, and it would create a lot of 6-figure salaries. Really cool thing that would work hand in hand with local universities and with Stratcom. Seems like it's picking up some steam, some momentum. Like the city of Bellevue is in for $4 million and some private funding. So keep an eye on that. Those are the types of things that attract the types of employees you want to attract to your
keep
city.
Them here, hopefully.
And help Stratcom, which would probably be a pretty good thing too. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Going to take our first break of the hour. And when we come back, Trenton and I are going to analyze the Greater Omaha Chamber's annual report, which has some interesting, statistics and results for the last year when it comes to Omaha growth and development. And it also lists a few places where Omaha had nice ratings and rankings. So we're going to go through that and many more things to come. You're listening to Grow Omaha on News Radio 1110 KFAB. So, the things on here.
The D&M Roofing is on the side and has been for 50 plus years. With services like our free no-cost risk management for commercial properties.
You know what country's growing the fastest?
What?
Ireland.
What?
It's doubling all the time.
Doubling all the time. So we're continuing last week's.
He did his research.
We're continuing last week's dad jokes. Didn't Chris say something he was going to do a dad joke spot?
He did.
On Facebook.
Oh, he already
Oh,
posted
you see it. Okay.
Yeah, he did it.
It's getting handfuls of hits.
It's being viewed by tens.
You know what kind of doctor Dr. Pepper is?
What?
Physician.
Physician. Very good.
He's
not even a dad, folks.
I told you about the fire at the French cheese factory, right?
No,
Nothing was left but debris.
you did tell me that one. I'm not good at remembering dad jokes. So, back to the... so, we'll just kind of go through some of this stuff here. Big names, REACH program. And then this, I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through some of these ratings.
Yeah.
I suppose I could pull some of them up.
You know how to track Will Smith in the snow?
Oh,
Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince. Very good. Keep those dad jokes coming.
They say if you love something,
one time years ago, David Letterman was a guest on the Johnny Carson show, and he sits down and all that sort of thing, and you know, everyone's clapping, and the first thing he does is turn over to Ed McMahon. He goes, "Ed, keep those bloopers coming." Remember he used to do those bloopers?
Crazy talk.
What's this? Oh, best cities for renters.
But with LifeLock by Norton, it's easy to help
Number 2,
protect
Omaha,
yourself.
Nebraska.
We help
Okay, so we can
monitor
pull
your
up
info
that.
and alert you to potential
All right,
threats.
all right,
If you become a
okay.
victim, a dedicated
Number 2 best state
U.S.-based
for
restoration
what the hell's mental
specialist will work to
floss?
fix it.
Oh, it's kind of a fun magazine, actually.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's all kinds of.
But everyone
Better than anal floss?
25% off their
Totally.
first year at
Yes.
LifeLock.com
Yeah, much more
with promo
comfortable.
code NEWS. That's promo code NEWS for 25% off at LifeLock.
I don't think they publish anymore on paper.
Have you ever seen that T-Mobile when they're trying to say that they're better than Verizon?
Yeah.
Like the only place that's not covered is Nebraska.
It's central
It's
Nebraska.
just a big hole. Of,
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
And then you see T-Mobile on Dodge Street at like 114th. You're like,
Yeah, well, if you look carefully, it's a little bit of eastern Nebraska is
Okay.
on there. But yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, actually. The only big
I've seen it.
non-red spot in the entire country is
Pink spot.
Like 90% of the state of Nebraska. And it's uninterrupted.
yeah, like, well, they just blew off Nebraska.
Here we go.
Ian Swanson here. Senator Deb Fischer shared a laundry list of sanctions proposals to combat Putin's aggression in Ukraine. Hear our conversation on the Ian Swanson podcast page at kfab.com.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid. We represent NAI NP Dodge, Omaha's premier commercial real estate company. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, which is a commercial
worry,
roofing
Eric.
company. Yeah. Eric Obrump does the roofing, not NP Dodge. But NP Dodge has a lot of roofs. We just don't do roofing. But if you need roofing work, call D&M Roofing. And you know them. If you listen a lot, you've heard Eric Obrump on the show. Great guy. And they do such a good job of taking care of people. We know them, we use them, and we recommend them. All right. Trenton. The Greater Omaha Chamber released an annual report this week. They actually had their annual meeting. And I kind of highlighted a few of those things in this week's newsletter and thought it would be kind of fun for us to spend a few minutes today talking about some of that stuff. So first of all, good news. The Chamber Economic Development Partnership, which covers 8 counties, was involved in more than $1.5 billion of capital investment.
We'll take it.
We will take it. And the partnership landed 44 new projects. A project is any effort in which they're trying to recruit a company or retain a company. So 44 new projects, and looks like that equated to 4,533 new and existing jobs with an annual payroll of just under $90 million.
So hopefully those jobs come with other spouses and family members that they can, and significant others that can add more jobs to the mix.
Or as they in the economic development profession refer to it as the trailing spouse.
The trailing spouse.
I've always liked that term, the trailing spouse, because you can have this vision like this one person who's, Mr. or Ms. Successful, dressed in a perfect suit, making all this money, and then there's this slacking trailing spouse just kind of following on. No, sometimes the trailing spouse does better than the
Bringing the kids behind.
non-trailing spouse. Couple other things in the report. It says the region continues to generate interest from industries of strength. These are industries that Omaha does really well in. So finance and insurance, logistics, manufacturing, agribusiness, med tech, biosciences. Big names in these areas once again drove the Chamber's landed project success, led by announcements from Amazon, Facebook, Fiserv, and Novozymes. And as you and I like to say, one of the coolest economic development hubs anywhere around here is Highway 50 and Highway 370.
Absolutely.
Because within just a couple miles, you have millions of square feet and billions of dollars investment from Amazon, Google, and Facebook. Just boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3.
If you have Amazon Prime, you probably got an email last night that they're raising their monthly rate from like $12.99 to $14.99.
Oh, are they?
But they said it hadn't raised since 2018.
I'm out.
And they have a lot more content and all kinds of stuff. And they're going to do Thursday night, NFL Thursday night or exclusive or something like that. And so the question is, are the benefits worth it? But they certainly have a large presence.
The thing is, though, with Amazon, what the hell are you going to do about it, right?
Right.
Amazon raises their rates, and they control so much. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I don't need to use Google anymore.
Yeah, Google. Some of these companies that for instance, maybe the average person might not spend a lot of money on Google because they're not advertising, but companies are. What else are you going to do? You have to advertise on Google.
I mean, we're capitalists, but we believe in the free enterprise system. But at the same time, when we were kids, and we've talked about this before, that when the AT&T got too large and the federal government broke them up into the baby bells, I bet you they were just a fraction of these tech companies.
Oh, yeah.
Time, relatively.
Yeah, and you think just about the power of these big tech companies. Thankfully, Omaha gets to play with them. I mean, we have major presences, like literally, as we said, billions of dollars of investment from both Facebook and Amazon, billions of dollars of investment with Google and Facebook, millions of square feet with those two plus Amazon.
Right.
Then we have 1,000 LinkedIn jobs here. We've got 3,000 or 4,000 PayPal jobs. We've got Yahoo here.
Interesting. The article I just read that they're getting a lot more, but Facebook only has like 15 data centers, and there's only one in each of the states right now, which is hard to believe. But if we get one, if we're one of 15 communities, we're doing pretty well. Yet
Google has soon to be three data centers just in Metro Omaha. Actually, four if you count the small one in Council Bluffs. You have the smaller original one, which is still big, the 1,000-acre one in Council Bluffs, the huge but not quite that big one in Sarpy County, and then the new one that's being graded in about Highway 133 and State Street.
Yep.
Well, let's go back to that chamber report. A couple other things I thought were kind of fun. First of all, at the end, it says Greater Omaha Chamber reports that the Omaha metro area is one of the number one up-and-coming tech hotspots, kind of what we were just talking about. Top 10 place to live on a $60,000 salary, and one of the best cities for young professionals. And in particular, the annual report listed a few great ratings that Omaha received in the last year. And here we go. Number 2, best city for renters. Number 2, best state for millennials. Number 4, best city for first-time homebuyers. Number 5, best city for work-life balance. And number 9, best city for young professionals. Those are good ratings.
We'll take it.
So let's look at a couple of those, shall we? Yeah. Let's look at for Nebraska, best state for millennials. This is according to Mental Floss. And would you like to hear the list?
Yes.
Okay. Top 10 best states for millennials. North Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, Wyoming, Minnesota, Utah, Wisconsin, Kansas, and Colorado.
Wow.
The first part sounds like an upper Midwest list.
Right.
I mean, both Dakotas, Nebraska, and Iowa. That's
I would have thought that North Dakota was the best for millennials.
Yeah, of course, they only have 12 millennials who live there, but still, for those 12 who are there, they have a heck of a time.
They put them on ice 3/4 of the year.
They're really, really enjoying themselves. So, worst states for millennials. So, if you're a millennial, folks, listen up. Don't go here. Number 1, Mississippi. Tied for number 1, Florida.
Wow.
Maybe that's because everyone's over 65.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2, Alabama. 3, South Carolina. 4, Georgia. I'm sensing some discrimination against the Southeast Conference. Number 5, North Carolina. Number 6, West Virginia. Number 7, New Mexico. Number 8, Oregon. Number 9, California, which really means 10.
Have we ever seen Omaha or Nebraska on any of those worst lists?
Yeah. Recently, there was one that was kind of concerning. While Omaha has seen increasing population growth, we believe, over the last year. In fact, we wouldn't be surprised if it's substantially faster in the last year than the prior year when the data comes out. The state of Nebraska not growing as fast, and at one of the moving companies, I don't know if it was Atlas or United Van, whatever, always does a thing for move-ins, move-outs, and Nebraska was number 10 for most move-outs.
Wow. So
I hated to see that, but the other thing you got to keep in mind too is that Nebraska a lot of times grows very slowly, whereas Omaha will grow many times faster.
From small town Nebraska as well as the small town Iowa and other places.
Yeah, as I say, part of the problem is probably because small town Nebraska keeps moving to Omaha, which is great for Omaha, but we need more and more people coming from out of state.
It'd be fascinating to see where those move outs are going to.
Yeah. And you probably, if you dug into the data, could figure that out. But Omaha, we're probably not to be neglectful of our beloved state, but we're more interested in Metro Omaha. And Metro Omaha has positive in-migration from a lot of major metropolitan areas. Like, for instance, there are more people to move from Chicago to Omaha than Omaha to Chicago, for example.
I can see that.
There are more people who move from the state of California to Metro Omaha than from Metro Omaha to the state of California. So some of those big places, we have positive in-migration. Actually, a lot of them. That might surprise a lot of people. So before we go to the break, one other highlight from some of those listings. We said one of those ratings was number 2 best city for renters, according to Forbes. And I'm looking at the description here, and it says you can find affordable, roomy apartments in Omaha and perhaps even score a few good views, maybe a view of the Missouri River even. Average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment would require only about 22% of the city's median household income of $60,000. And that compares favorably. Omaha renters have good access to parks and generally decent weather. I don't normally think of our weather as generally decent, but a lot of places have generally indecent weather, apparently.
Yes.
And with that, let's go to our middle of the show break. We're going to throw you over to the news, but when we come back, we have a lot more to talk about. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAINP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB. All right, so I've got, so we'll do the Noddle thing, have a little update about construction on Steelhouse Omaha. Mutual Omaha was rated highly. Is there anything else you want to throw out, bring up, anything about deals you've done, anything you've heard this week? If not, and we can also go into another one of those little rating things if we wanted.
Well, what?
We could go into another one of these rating things.
Okay.
Like number 9 best city for millennials according to Smart Ass at
Smart asses.
You know, we had an email at news@growomaha.com recently that was on my case for cussing too much. And
On the radio?
yeah, so I wrote back and I said, just out of curiosity, what do I do? Apparently I say hell too much.
Yeah.
Hell.
Oh, I remember.
Hell's a cuss word, I guess.
I remember
don't see
several
that as
years
a cuss
ago,
word.
I said freak it. And
Yeah.
somebody wrote to Gary or something.
I think you also said pissed on that same show. So they're like, oh, that was just too much for like the
Family show. It's not a family show.
Really, it's not. I mean, we love families, don't get me wrong.
Pissed off is an interesting word.
It's a gray area.
It's changed.
Yeah.
It's not really considered by those like Gen X
Yeah.
and younger. But if you talk to Gary,
He didn't like it. Yeah.
part of the baby boom, he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But
That's
he,
true.
He understands it's a word that's transitioned.
But yeah, because when we were kids, you wouldn't say pissed in front of the
Your
grown-ups. Yeah. You wouldn't say it in front of adults. Yeah.
Ram farts.
Rat farts from Caddyshack. The guy, rat farts.
I don't like the word out of mind fart. I hate that.
Or brain fart.
Yeah.
Okay, so another interesting thing on the newsletter. Some woman writes in, and I said, Madewell, the new jeans denim retailer, only one in Nebraska. I said, not true. There's one in Des Moines at Jordan Creek Town Place Center, and whatever it's called.
She's the only one in Nebraska. And she says,
I said the only one in Nebraska or Iowa. So I looked up Madewell, and on their locations, it has the Omaha one, but nothing in the whole state of Iowa. So I told her that. She's like, well, I lived in Des Moines, and there's one there. I'm like, so then I looked at Jordan Creek Town Center, and I said, I just looked at their tenant directory. There's no sign of it.
Yeah.
So I said, either you imagined it or they went out of business.
You said that?
Yeah. Because she was kind of,
She get back to you?
no, she was kind of neat about
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I had to blast her.
I'm sure she listens to this.
I'm sure
Sorry, man.
And if you are one of the tens of people who listen to Uncut,
And
we sincerely apologize.
you should be lucky because Jeff doesn't respond to all of them.
Seldom. I usually don't respond. Yeah. I'd say if we get 20-ish, like comment emails, whatever, I'd maybe respond to one or two a week.
We have over 10,000 people get the newsletter now.
Yeah.
You should sign up as well. If you're listening to this, you're definitely a diehard fan. Go to growomaha.com. Go to the newsletter, and it's easy. It's free. It goes in your inbox every Thursday, and it is a fine piece of information.
Okay,
Quick read.
On a completely different subject. Is there ever not snow in Ukraine? Okay, we've been watching this coverage of the Ukrainian crisis for months now, and for the last 2 or 3 months, every scene they show from Ukraine, everything is covered in snow. It must just dump snow in buckets there. Because here in Omaha,
The jewel of the Soviet
we're
Union.
dry out there, like you know, and
Well, that's unusual for us.
but even for a normal winter, our snow melts, right?
Right.
Then you have nothing for a while.
Yeah.
Everything is just covered. You see these poor soldiers in the foxholes, and there's just snow all over them. Is it ever? And it's always cloudy. Have you seen any pictures of the war coverage in Ukraine in the last 2 months in which it wasn't cloudy?
I won't look that close, but I will.
Okay.
We get a lot of gray days. Maybe we haven't this year.
Apparently not like Ukraine.
Yeah.
Well, it's their bread
Damn near
basket.
60,
They're
actually.
actually a tremendous.
In the
This is
summer,
supposed to be
yeah.
62 tomorrow or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
tomorrow's gonna be gorgeous. Yeah.
Plenty of sunshine with Omaha's
In fact,
most
that's what they're
accurate
talking about right now.
forecast of 6 News First Alert Meteorology.
But yeah, I'm like, what a godforsaken,
Yeah.
cloudy, snow-covered place. Even if there wasn't all that
Yeah, it is depressing
tension.
looking.
Yeah,
And Putin wants it. It's just,
that's because
a lot of
Moscow's worse.
resources.
yeah.
A lot of resources. Well, Ukraine still has a little chip on their shoulder. They don't like Russians.
I don't blame them. They've been
That,
abused by
that
that
little
country.
Chernobyl incident
Yeah.
didn't help their attitude.
There's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a huge ag growing
Lots of
area
resources.
that has never been properly, fully developed.
They're still pretty
Anywhere
easy
near
to
its
produce.
potential. Yeah, like it's not like it could be. I've always read that if they did what we did, it could outproduce the Midwestern U.S. That's what I read it, so it must be true. And
Especially if it was on the internet.
that their internet, big industrial production capabilities in that country.
Can you imagine you're in Ukraine, all of a sudden your credit card gets turned off, and
Yeah. All right, that's another thing that I've been wondering about. All we hear about are all these Russian cyber attacks. Does anyone ever attack them back, I hope? I mean, these Russians are doing cyber attacks like as a daily hobby. And are they getting to taste their own medicine?
They're probably not going to say anything, and we're not going to say if we did it.
I hope we're like doing it to their credit card companies.
yeah, Biden's on the hot seat.
Yes, he is. He's kind of earned it. All right.
50 seconds.
Man. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, #1 city for young professionals. Sioux Falls is growing really fast, and it's a great town, but it's not the most exciting place. And it's
You gotta
always
you gotta
interesting how
wonder.
high it's rated. You know what I mean? But I think not having state income tax though is huge.
Yeah, it's a part of some storage units there.
Oh, that's right.
I want to.
Are they full?
Just getting built. Great location.
These top 10 cities for millennials, none of them are in terribly warm places. The closest would be Nashville, which it still gets wintry there a little bit.
Okay.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate. The show is also brought to you by D&M Roofing. Hey, it's time for our commercial real estate development spotlight. We do this every week right after the news, and it is courtesy of Noddle Companies. Noddle Companies is an Omaha-based commercial and residential real estate development company doing projects in many states, but we are really interested in the ones they're doing in Omaha, like Exarban Village, Village Point Medical Campus, River's Edge downtown, and rather on the Council Bluffs riverfront, Builders District downtown. And one of their projects is Steel Ridge, which is right at Interstate 80 and Highway 370 in Sarpy County. And we mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but goodness, every time I drive by that property, Trenton, the progress on the H&H Chevrolet campus is impressive. And just the size of that H&H Chevrolet, I call it a campus because there's multiple buildings there, very impressive.
Well, they'll have a major home improvement store there. Are we allowed to say what it is? I think we are.
I don't know. But just go ahead and say
It's
it.
Menards.
Yeah, so Menards is going to, it's been reported in other places,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah, Menards going to that area. I think that's a great spot for it.
But they have a bunch of pad sites. I was talking to their leasing team, and they're going to develop a few strip centers for food, for retail, service, and that kind of stuff. That area will need it. All those Amazon employees, and that whole area is really filling in.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see what happens there. Hey, I think there's one thing the state could do to kind of make life even better there. When you are eastbound on Highway 370 and you want to go onto eastbound Interstate 80, need to have a double left turn lane there.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I bet you that's coming pretty quick because there is so much activity out in that area, and there's going to be a lot more growth. That's pretty important. And then just on the south side of Steel Ridge, you may have noticed that Google campus is now stretching all the way over to 156th Street, and there are some huge cranes looming above the horizon there, building more pretty large facilities for Google in that area.
Yeah, keep taking those pictures on your cell phones, ladies and gentlemen.
And send them in. And that's your commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, brought to you by Noddle Companies. You can find out more about Noddle Companies and the great work they're doing by going to noddlecompanies.com. Hey, a couple of quick updates for you today. Trenton, you and I have been keeping an eye on the Steel House Omaha construction.
Excited about that one.
Over $100 million project where you'll be able to go watch a variety of live music performances.
The Benson Theater looks like it's fixing to open really fast.
The Benson Theater. Tell me about that, and then we'll go back to this.
Gal and Amy Ryan used to have the pizza shop there. Got a lot of people together, and she spearheaded that. And I saw some pictures online. It was an old vaudeville theater, and it's right next to that Solo's or whatever pizza, that new restaurant that took over from the pizza shop. And it's a Benson Theater. We've got to check it out.
Well, that's very cool. Now, a bigger theater would be the Steel House Omaha, and it is right at about, it's between Dodge and Capitol, west of 11th, I think. Yeah, west of 11th. And so according to Omaha Performing Arts, they are now working on the interior stairs and catwalks, plus installing plumbing, electrical, mechanical systems, still on target for an opening in the middle of 23. And then get a load of this. Congratulations to our friends at Mutual of Omaha. Forbes magazine ranked Mutual 25th on its list of America's best large employers for 2022. The Forbes ranking basically
who's ever going to build a skyscraper?
Said whatever company's going to build a 700-foot skyscraper in Omaha deserves to be number one. No, it said Mutual is number one in the insurance industry, so higher than any other insurance company and higher than any other large employer based in Nebraska.
Nice. Congratulations.
And I tell you what, those employees, it sounds like, are going to be working in a pretty tall building in 2026. So we can't wait for that to.
James Blackledge, if you want to come on here as the CEO, you're welcome to come on our show.
We should probably reach out to him sometime. Maybe we'll reach out to him after the official announcement of exactly what the building is going to be in terms of height and size and all that sort of thing. We should do that.
Absolutely.
Well, let's take our final break of the hour. And when we come back, you know what it is. It's time for the lightning round. I'm looking at the list. A lot of things to get through. So stay with us. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha. Brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And
Side and has been
no.
like our free no-cost risk management for commercial
Okay, so lightning round stuff. Here's what I got. Phil's Deli, Bodega Market.
Yeah, it's 56.
Find us online at dnroofing.com. Let's get that fixed.
When we're cooped up inside in this cold weather, you know what's cooped up inside with us? Dust, dirt,
It's definitely her.
If you need to get
I
your
think she still has glasses.
contact Zero Res today and get clean for just $129. Book online at zeroresne.com.
It's time for our President's Day sofa sale at Amish Furniture of Nebraska.
I personally think they have the best furniture in town.
They do have their quality and selection. What are we talking about again?
Oh, it's that stupid Amish furniture.
You know what?
Is that the one that's out in Elkhorn?
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a rule
are we gonna,
that if you are not a native of that country or an outstanding actor, don't try accents.
Get a better breakfast at Wendy's.
Yeah,
Any
those-
breakfast sandwich.
yeah.
And if you're not an outstanding imitator, don't try imitations. Because there's a commercial on KFAB, I probably shouldn't say this Uncut, but there's a commercial on KFAB for an Italian restaurant,
Oh, I know which one you're talking
and the
about.
owner has what, to me, sounds like a very fake Italian accent.
Yeah, it
And I'm
is.
like, every time I hear that, I was like, dude, I'm sure it's a delicious restaurant, but that accent is like,
Actually, I've heard it was good. I had a pizza from there once.
yeah.
And it was good.
I want to go try it, but every time I hear that
Nothing
fake
fancy,
accent,
but
like,
it's good.
dude,
What does it rhyme with?
Luigi's.
Have you guys ever been to Roma's down in?
it's very close to Luigi's.
It's sounds a lot like.
MW.
And it's in a town that rhymes with Fellview.
Here we
Oh, are
go.
we on? Okay. Hey, man.
We'll see you later.
Tells all. It's on the Jim Rose page on the on-air tab at KFAB.com.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We are brought to you by NAI NP Dodge and D&M Roofing. And I am sitting next to Trenton Magid, and we are ready to bring you the Lightning Round.
Yeah, we are.
And the Lightning Round is courtesy of Turner Construction. Turner Construction, big New York-based construction company that in Omaha acts like one of the smaller contractors because they are involved in the community. They're putting forth all of this energy and effort into workforce development, doing projects from the very small to the very large and everything in between here in Omaha. And we're just so proud to have them as part of the Grow Omaha lineup. If you want to find out more about Turner Construction, read about some of their projects and also, drive around and look at some of the stuff they're doing. I mean, they're famous in town for doing the big, huge Sarpy County data center down in, Sarpy County, but at Highway 150 and Cape Hart Road. And then lately, they've been doing a lot of those Chase Bank build outs. And those Chase Bank branches have been popping up all over town lately. And Turner does a lot of other stuff as well. So thanks to Turner Construction for bringing this to you. So let's get to it. Trenton, let's talk about a deli. You and I,
We need good delis in Omaha.
we're no stranger to delis. We're no stranger to most restaurants. But a new deli called Phil's Deli, and it's spelled P-H-Y-L, Phil's Deli, is going into the former Ahmad's Persian cuisine space, which is next to Mr. Toad's in the Old Market. The actual address is 1006 Howard Street. And I happened to be in the Old Market Tuesday evening, walked around. It was pretty nice temperature that day. And build out is really in full force there.
I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, small space. You would be surprised, according to the little posting from the city of Omaha with the building permit information, only 624 square feet.
Wow.
So real small space, unless that's an air. I was wondering if that maybe
What
that
if
was an
it's
air.
just the dining space?
I don't know. Yeah, it just
That's
struck me
small.
as very small. Just to the west, a few doors to the west, Bodega Market and Coffee Bar opened about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, on the northeast corner of 11th and Howard Street. So there's an external entrance to this store on 11th, but you can also get into it from the famous passageway. And I love the passageway. Anyway, this place is pretty cool. As the name would indicate, it's a coffee bar, but they also have grab-and-go food, pretty decent alcohol selection, also a number of vegan food items and non-vegan food items. Beautiful the way they built it out. So it'll be a nice addition. It's almost kind of like I would describe it as a more upscale version of a convenience store,
Interesting.
if that makes sense. Yeah.
Smaller.
Yeah. But more spacious because, a lot of convenience stores, there's not a lot of room in there. This has a lot of open space and even some seating area. So I would imagine it'll do pretty well. Now, going out west, Chipotle has opened a location in front of the Menards Home Improvement Store near 204th, and they have a Chipotlane.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone through the Chipotlane?
I have not done a Chipotlane, but I've been to Chipotle out west Omaha when it is really backed up because they got all these phone orders and Uber Eats and all these other delivery drivers and stuff. If you hit it during a dinner time, especially with their short staff, it's a long wait.
You know what? I hate those to-go orders at Chipotle because I'll finally get up to my spot in line and I'm ready to order my burrito bowl. And then all of a sudden, excuse us, and 15 to-go orders come through. I'm like, dude, I'm standing here in front of you. Who's more important? But
they need a to-go lane.
A to-go lane. I've never been through the Chipotle. I'm not a drive-through guy, though. Because I remember Joe Pesci once in a movie told us about things they do to you in the drive-through. So I tend to avoid drive-throughs myself. The only time I ever did drive-throughs a lot when my kids were really little in those car seats. It was a pain in the butt to drag them out.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'd go in. Construction is underway on a new Runza restaurant that'll open later this year on the northwest corner of 144th and Ida Street. And then a very cool place, Trenton, that you and we need to bring Amy and Stephanie with us and try this. It's called Main Street Cellar. It is in old downtown Elkhorn, appropriately on 2714 North Main Street. It's a wine bar, and it has, quote, a relaxed atmosphere to enjoy wine by the glass or bottle, end quote. It also offers charcuterie boards, wine lockers, a membership program, and a 3-season rooftop patio.
Yeah, I read that. It'd be fun to check out.
Yeah, I actually saw it maybe about a month before it opened. I kind of poked my head in an unauthorized way, and I was impressed.
Have you been to the brewery out there, the new brewery?
The Juke?
Yeah.
Juke Ale Works. I walked in it and poked my head in there one time, but it was full. And so I went somewhere else, and I have had beer from it, but I did not drink it there.
I've had lunch there. It's good.
I want it. Well, it's another place we need to go sometime. Yeah, it looks beautiful. And the patio, outdoor patio deck upstairs looks great.
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit of bad restaurant news. It was a good restaurant, but bad news is that it's closing. Craft Sliders and Beer at 1213 Harney Street. Their last day in business is going to be Saturday, February 26th. They are looking for a new restaurant to take that spot. But Trenton, you and I had lunch there once last year.
It was good.
Really liked that one a lot. I'm sad to see that one go. Now, there is a related business called Harney Street Tavern in the basement. It stays. It's fine. It'll go there. But Craft Sliders and Beer, if you're a fan of that place, you've got till next Saturday to go get it another time before it's gone. Cool retailer coming to town, Madewell. Madewell is a denim clothing retailer, and they opened for business a couple days ago at Village Point. They're located between Apple Store and Lush Cosmetics, if that means anything to people that know Village Point. So Madewell says on its website that it sells jeans and all the things you wear, like denim, effortless tees, keep forever bags, cool jewelry, and compliment-worthy shoes. I'd say I'm wearing some compliment-worthy shoes, wouldn't you say? Even though you haven't complimented me on them.
They look really nice.
Who in real life would ever say, "Oh, I like your shirt. Thanks. It's an effortless tee."
Right.
I don't know what the hell that is.
It was really easy to fold when I was done with it.
This is my keep forever bag. I love it so much. I'm going to keep it. Anyway, despite the marketing talk, this is a cool store. They have 144 locations. The closest previously existing ones before the Omaha one opened were in Kansas City and Minneapolis. And at Village Point, we reported last week that they landed Warby Parker, which is a big hot retail name. They sell stylish eyeglasses and sunglasses. Yeah. They also have just down a few doors from that Sunglass Hut. So maybe Warby Parker and Sunglass Hut will duke it out for world dominance.
It's important for these shopping centers to reinvent themselves. You know, the master is Rod Yates and Johanna over at the
Nebraska Crossing.
Nebraska Crossing, how they keep bringing new things and REIs coming and everything else. But we haven't heard much from Westroads lately.
No, you don't. Yeah, nothing. In fact,
I'm told that that old Joe's Crab Shack has been leased, but I don't know much about it. We haven't heard anything about it.
No, and just that same rumor that you mentioned, had heard that, but don't know what. So we have to find out. And you mentioned REI. I was out at Nebraska Crossing a couple days ago, and that construction is in full force. Rod doesn't mess around. When it's time to build a new building at Nebraska Crossing, it's boom, go.
Yeah.
And I mean, this thing's going to be 25,000 feet, so it's a big building. And
It'll be a cool story.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't seen it, if you're familiar with Nebraska Crossing, it is immediately east of Under Armour. So in part of what used to be a parking lot, and then east of that is that other building that has Home Goods and what is that, TJ Maxx, I believe. So it'll be right in that area. Really cool. I've also seen plans. I don't know if it's 100% finalized, but I've also seen plans that there might be a walking trail that goes straight north from REI at Nebraska Crossing up to that new huge mega park that the city of Gretna is building.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Could be some other interesting things happening out there. I think we need to keep our eye on Gretna. And I'm not talking just at Nebraska Crossing. Could be some other stuff in that area as well. And the music's playing, which means that we have to leave. And that's sad, but we'll be back next week. In the meantime, I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha. It's brought to you by D&M Roofing, NAINP Dodge, and Turner Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Yeah.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.